This episode is brought to you by Mobility Public Relations, the full-service PR agency created specifically for mobility technology companies just like yours. Hello everybody, welcome to Untether.tv, where we're sitting and having conversations with mobile rock stars. I'm sitting here with Fergus Hurley, who is the CEO and I guess founder of Clixtr. You founded Clixtr, didn't you? Yep. Where you're in the Bay Area? I'm going to assume.
Yeah, we're based in San Francisco right now. Hey everyone, good to be here.
Well, we started by the little preamble, a little conversation about what was going on with Clixtr and the news that's going on, and I've been waiting for this type of application to materialize and create and gain enough awareness because. I saw this event, and Fergus, bear with me, because I saw this event which was CNN asking everybody in the world, or everybody who was, don't worry about that, there we go. CNN did this great thing, which was on the day that Barack Obama was inaugurated as President of the United States.
Yeah.
CNN asked everybody that at the moment that he puts his hand on his Bible and he puts his hand up in the air and pledges allegiance to the flag, that everybody take a picture who's in attendance. So it doesn't matter if you're in the yard or the field or inside and doing. And then they created this montage of that shared experience, and I thought, oh my God, that was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And now, that technology should exist everywhere. And so
right to the masses.
Yeah, with Clixtr, your first product, that's what really was so cool about this is that it's capturing a moment in time, but not just from your perspective, from everybody else. So with that, why don't you tell everybody what I'm rambling on about?
Good stuff, good stuff. So yeah, Clixtr is all about real-time location-aware media sharing. So at an event within the iPhone application, you can create an event. You just press the plus button within the application, and you add the event name, the description, the location comes down automatically. And then everyone else who shows up to that event can see that event is happening nearby. So they don't need to be invited to the event or to be friendly on the social network or anything. They just see it as happening nearby, and then they can start contributing their content. So it's all about collaborative photo sharing with everyone else at an event in real time. And so you have this then new type of social object. Instead of sharing individual photos or videos or comments about an event or about any experience, you share all the content from that event as one grouping. And so then you can see the popular events that are happening around the world. You can see the newest events. You can see updates on events, and then you can follow events, and then they appear in your My Events section. And we also have a web app then as well, so people can go to the website clixtr.com, CLIXTR.com, and they can then contribute their own content there as well and upload photos from their digital SLR camera or any other devices that they don't have connection with Clixtr at the site at that moment in time. But it's really about creating this collaborative photo stream with everyone else at the event, and so you don't lose any of that content. And so we launched that product at TechCrunch 50 last year.
Yep. And
that was just the iPhone application. Then we launched the web app and we were one of the finalists at TechCrunch 50. But then we launched the web app in November, and we won the Silicon Valley Business Journal Emerging Technology Award for social networking. And then after that, then we won the Consumer Electronics Show Mobile App Showdown 2010 in Las Vegas. And then we've been adding a lot of functionality to the Clixtr platform, and everything has been public so far. But we've built out on our staging server private events, and we're in the process of testing that. And there's a lot of you got to do a ton of testing around that because you definitely don't want any issues with any exposure there. And so we had to redo a lot of our internal workings of our database and stuff. But let's talk about the new product we just launched as well, just last Monday, so just over a week ago. And since then, we've had over 100,000 downloads of the application.
That's PicBounce, right?
And that's PicBounce.
Yep.
Yeah, and PicBounce is the fastest and easiest way to get your photos from your iPhone onto Facebook and Twitter. And so it's leveraging our real-time location-aware media sharing platform and just solving a need that we've seen over and over again with everyone we meet. They want their photos on Facebook. They don't want to have to go into the camera app, take the photo, then go into email and have to email that to some other service where then they'll forward it to the different accounts, or have to take the photo with the camera and then go into the other applications separately to Facebook and then Twitter, and then it's just multi-stage. We've shortened it down to 2 taps. It couldn't be easier, and the response has been phenomenal. We've been in nearly the top 25 for the since we launched, and yeah, people are just loving it. And tens of thousands of photos uploaded, and it's taken off.
Well, I mean, this is an interesting thing because you started the company in when, 2008, 2009?
Yeah, end of 2008. Yeah.
Yeah, and you quit school at MIT.
Yeah.
How far along were you in your schooling?
So I was a PhD student in electrical engineering, computer science, and in that program at MIT, you have to get a master's before you can get your PhD.
Yeah.
And then also you have to get your tech and qualifying exams done, which are sort of the entrance requirements for the PhD. And I passed them. And once you pass them, you can take a leave of absence for up to 5 years.
Okay.
And so I'm theoretically
2 years.
on a leave of absence right now.
Okay.
And that's what I keep telling my parents and stuff like that. But
that's an interesting thing. It's like we won't tell them. Just don't point them here. I mean, it's an interesting thing. Like, what would so you were bitten by something, obviously, a need.
Yes. So then I went out to Stanford Summer Institute for Entrepreneurship, which is held every summer at the Stanford Business School, and that's sort of a mini MBA for non-business graduate students that want to learn how to start and run companies. And it's in the best place in the world to learn about startups, because they bring in speakers from all the top companies, and they come in and give you some insight and all this sort of stuff. And they bring in the professor of Stanford, or president of Stanford, sorry, and he comes in and he's on the board of Google, and he talks about why he started the program in the first place. And he says, I'm on the board of Google and I see these Google guys, and I'm thinking, like, if only they had some business training before they left, how much better they would have done. And he's joking, of course, but he does want to encourage people to be, do more things like the Google guys and take risks and go out there and try and start the next big thing.
Yeah.
And it's just a phenomenal program to get you sort of acclimatized to the valley and stuff. And then while I was in the program, Steve Jobs launched the AppStore. And it just changed how mobile worked forever. Yeah. And when I was at MIT, I was pitching this idea around, like, why is it that when we go to bars and pubs and clubs and all that sort of stuff and any events and parties, like, we're all taking photos, but I never receive your photos? That just doesn't make sense. And, like, our phones have a time and location stamp. They know we're beside each other. Why aren't I getting that content? And before, up until that point, everyone had done stuff around Bluetooth and all that stuff, but people didn't have apps. And you couldn't get access to the location and timestamp or any of this stuff, or access to the camera even on the devices with native applications up until 2008. So after that, then that made it possible to do what we're doing right now. It just wasn't possible before, and so it's that was the spark to let's make it happen. And since then we moved into a place called Plug and Play, which is an incubator based in Silicon Valley. And they have fantastic contacts with a lot of investors, and they have like 30 deal review sessions a month. And so any entrepreneurs who are moving to Silicon Valley, it's a great place to get started and get to know a lot of people. And you're around all these brilliant entrepreneurs as well. And they have offices in Palo Alto and Sunnyvale and a few other places even around the world now. And they so we were based in their Sunnyvale office for a while, and then their Palo Alto office for a while, and then we raised seed funding from DFJ and some other angel investors. DFJ invests with Plug and Play in a few .com, which is another sort of Twitter media sharing application. And we raised seed funding from them and Amazon and some angel investors, and then launched the project TechCrunch 50. And so it's been a great ride so far.
It's incredible because you managed to get Draper Fisher Jurvetson, and that was just because of the relationship with Plug and Play?
Well, they made the intros to these investors, and investors just like you normally do. Like a lot of times, most young or entrepreneurs or people who aren't from the valley, they don't know all these investors, and it's very hard for them to get these meetings initially. So it's it's just it's a great way to get those early intros and be able to get in front of the investors. But and then like these investors are still meeting 50 plus companies from Plug and Play, a month. So it's still not every company gets the cash.
It's a little factory of companies. It seems like Plug and Play.
It is. It's good.
So
have you visited yourself, Rob?
I haven't been to Plug and Play, but now it's definitely on my stop for sure.
Yeah, definitely next time you're in the Valley.
Well, so what was it? So you took a leave of absence from MIT.
Yeah.
And I've just got a simple off-the-side question, which is, what would make you go back?
That's a tough question. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I don't want to. I don't know.
It would have to be something like if Clixtr's still flying in 2 years, and you've got to make that decision. It's a tough decision to make, isn't it?
I don't think I'm not planning right now on going back, really, to be honest.
Okay.
But I would say that MIT is a fantastic place, for meeting people to do the next big thing, and also just a great environment to be in, to be able to experiment and stuff like that as well. Because you've just got tons of smart people all working on great stuff, and being out in the real world and doing these companies is really it's a matter of, where do you learn the most? Do you learn the most from being in school, or do you learn the most from being out here doing companies? Yeah. And I really think that being out in the real world, doing this stuff for real, and trying to make the next big thing is really that's where you learn how to make the next big thing, not in school, really. So yeah,
it's the best education you'll ever have, I think.
Yeah.
So you managed to get a seed investment from DFJ, some angel investors. You jump out and you launch at TechCrunch 50 in 2009. And then you originally charged for the application. I think everybody does that, right? When you launch an app, you charge, it was $3 or something. And what was the reception after the launch of TechCrunch 50?
Yeah, so charging for social applications is always hard. Okay,
yes.
So and we were running sort of an experiment. It's all about running experiments. Trying to find models that work. And you always want to prove out whether certain things work or certain things don't. And definitely charging inhibits your growth. And so if you want to run that experiment for, if I charge, how many users can we acquire, and all these other aspects. But after we charged for a couple of days, we were like, okay, let's try and see what happens when we go free. And we got, 2 orders of magnitude more downloads per day. So that changed the dynamics slightly. and I think that with all these social applications, you really you can try and build the product, make money off the actual product itself and selling the product and stuff like that. But there's just this user expectation that everything's going to be free, and that definitely changes a lot of the dynamics in the marketplace. So that you got to offer it for free too, and you got to make your money in other ways. Are you there, Rob?
Yeah, I'm still here.
And you got to make your money in other ways. And the other thing is, unless you get critical mass, then it's very hard to make money as well. So there's 2 points where you can make money along the curve. It's like you either make money really early on by selling the product, or you make money later on down the road when you've actually reached critical mass. And now we're taking more of that approach. It's like, we're focused on building products that users love, and just getting them out there and learning from our users what they want, and then just building extra functionality and better products for what they want to do.
Well, you see, it's the it is. This whole space is about experimentation, isn't it? Especially when it comes to pricing and it is a volume game, especially on the social side. So
yeah.
You're creating product. So the first product you created was Clixtr, which was this social photo technology. And when did you realize that it was not about just a single product? It's that you needed kind of a multiple product strategy.
So I think that one of the differences with mobile and the web is people visit your website on the web, and that's your sort of brand recognition. Yeah. Whereas on mobile, people install the application, and they want the application to get to the point where they're trying to go as fast as possible. And so if you build a destination portal, like, people launch your application, then they have all these other features within your application, then that might not actually be the best approach, because you can't get an entryway to all your different products from that point. So, but you can then, but from one application, you can then, cross-pollinate other applications by showing ads and other messages for your other applications. So you can definitely get users of your other applications, but I don't think mobile is about building destination sites. Like we're yahoo.com and every ad says yahoo.com, but there's a finance section and a sports section. I think mobile is more about having a finance application built by Yahoo, a sports application built by Yahoo, and that's what people want. People want to be able to click the app, launch it straight into what they want to do, and especially with the camera, because the Clixtr application launches straight into the where you were last within the application. And if that's your first time using it, it's like the home screen, so you can see the functionality and stuff like that. But with the PicBounce application, it's straight into the camera. So it literally replaces the camera on your phone, because every time you take a photo, we save it to the device.
Yeah.
And then every time after you take a photo, it shows the upload screen. And so it shows a box for a caption, it shows post to Facebook, Twitter, and then just upload. And so if you've already set it up before, then all you do is you take the photo, press upload, and then it's posted to Facebook and Twitter instantly. And so it's really, really simple, like 2 taps, and then you see the history of it uploading, and then you can go back to the cameras instantly then as well. And so it's just, if you can just be flowing, taking tons and tons of photos, and we just couldn't have done that through the Clixtr application, because we'd have to have the front end be the camera, and then where do we bring them to Clixtr or to,
So, I mean, it really is about, let me ask you this, is it about the one use function of an app? Like, is that really what it comes down to? It's really about simplicity?
I think that, if we look at like even 10 years ago, everything was, people on the web were these very advanced users, and they were very sophisticated. To even get started, to be able to get on the web and stuff like that, you actually had to be pretty sophisticated. Like, you didn't have to be a rocket scientist, but you couldn't be just, you couldn't just be able to launch your computer and then just be on the web straight away. But now it's just so easy.
Yes. That
we have every single person in the world on this stuff. And not everyone is as sophisticated as the people in Silicon Valley, or the people that are doing going to all these tech conferences and stuff like that, of course. And they want very, very simple, shareable, instant gratification use cases. And that's when you look through the top 25 in the App Store, the top apps are mostly games, because they give the person downloads it, they play it for 2 minutes or so, and they're like, okay, cool, I've got my value. That was awesome.
It was worth it.
And so with the PicBounce application, it is really, really instant gratification, because you take the photo, it's posted, done, you see the purpose, I'm happy. And it's insanely viral, this application, because, most people have 200 friends plus on Facebook, and then maybe 100 plus followers on Twitter. And a lot of people have over 1,000 people on these services. And so when they take a photo, they're sending this out to 1,000, 2,000 people instantly are finding out about our service. So it's an insanely viral product in PicBounce. And we're just getting tons of emails saying, like, I love this app, it does exactly what I want, I love this and this feature, but we got to we got to think about which features make sense, which ones are we getting more requests for, and stuff like that. And that's where I think you can actually build the pro applications. Is like, you could release these applications for free, and then you get all these requests for certain functionality, and then you can actually release pro versions of the application for those people, and then they'll pay for this extra functionality. So a lot of people want to do groups within Facebook. They want to be able to upload it to multiple Facebook groups at the same time. They want to upload multiple Twitter accounts, and these are sort of edge cases, but these are the people who exactly will pay for this stuff as well. And
that's what you're seeing. So is that, like, I mean, one of the biggest challenges is obviously, as you said before, there's 2 challenges. One is getting this into as many hands as possible, right? So it's a volume play, and then turning that volume into some kind of revenue, because you must be looking at this saying, especially DFJ is, and your angel investors want some kind of return on this, and
of course, yeah.
So how do you plan on money? Is it the pro version? How do you generate revenue?
And just like with the applications itself, it's all about experimentation here. We're at the very early stages of this mobile stuff. Like, what we're doing wouldn't have been possible before. It's just simple as that. And so we're pioneering the space here right now. And so we're also we're pioneering the use cases of what the hell do people want to do.
Yes, you are.
pioneering the actual revenue streams that are possible here. And
you feel that there's lots of revenue opportunity for these?
I believe so. Yeah, I think that we're in such early stages that none of them have been proven out yet. Yeah. As this is definitely the way that a product that does this makes money. It's proven out in a lot of other spaces. In retail, how it works. In online, even stores, it's proven. But in this, in search, it's proven. In search 10 years ago, it wasn't proven. But now it's completely proven that, you have ads on the side, and that's how you make money.
They invented a business model, didn't they? I mean, Google invented, Overture and Yahoo invented a business model, and Google perfected that.
Yeah, right? and that's sort of where mobile is right now, is especially with these applications, is, we've got to build products that users love, and then we've got to test these different business models off of that, and then we can build in huge businesses off that. But we see a lot of revenue sources around. People still want their photos printed. Shutterfly is a huge company, public company, and they're making money off prints. And the average person wants prints more than even the tech people.
Yeah.
Pro services updates of the application. So maybe there's different upgrades to the application for different niche markets. So people who are managing multiple Twitter accounts want one pro version. People who want to upload their photos to multiple other photo sharing sites have another one. People who want to upload high quality photos from their 5 megapixel camera want another one. And people who want backups of all their photos that they ever take on their phone, but not on Facebook or Twitter, just a backup for themselves, instantly streamed to their computer and to a server that they can access through their computer, is another opportunity. And just advertising as well for other applications, upselling other photo sharing applications. There's just tons of opportunities out there, and it's just a matter of testing these different ones, seeing which one is a repeatable, scalable business model that you can just scale out then to everyone.
So a lot of those, I even think, like, some people want pictures of their cats on their shirts, that kind of stuff. So you could work with Cafe Press and
exactly, yeah. And we're seeing a lot of animals being uploaded. I can tell you that much.
Well, there's an affinity. Some people love their animals, right? Just
people
like their
love
kids.
taking photos and posting them of animals.
And you must get. You get a really great snapshot of kind of literally, no pun intended, but of what people are taking pictures of, and from where, right? So I just think about this, like, context specific information is so. It's early stage, right?
Yeah.
Like, people they've tried to figure out location-based services like couponing and location. I check in with one of those multiple check-in software, and I might check in at the Statue of Liberty and get historical information about the Statue of Liberty as a result of being there. But the really great thing to me is what Google Maps has done. For location, you can do that as well for photos. Is that, if I'm stamped at the Statue of Liberty and I take a picture and I upload that to Twitter, this becomes another layer on top of Twitter, that every picture that is ever taken through your service of the Statue of Liberty all of a sudden should be able to be grouped, and you get every angle ever imagined of that one monument. Is that, can you do that now with your stuff?
Yes, so we actually had an intern working with us before who he's a student at the MIT Media Lab, and he had worked on the initial technology behind PhotoSync, which is the technology that Microsoft bought, which does all this 3D virtualization of the event, sort of, where you're going from photo to photo, getting all the different angles from the different places, and they stitch them all together to create the 3D model. But photos is a huge category. When photos was started, or like when the initial companies in the photo space were getting started, like Polaroid and these companies, it was still a risk where they're like, do people actually really want to take photos? Is everyone going to take photos, or do people just want to get a photo taken by a photographer, once a year and stuff? But like Kodak, Polaroid, these companies, they built the industry around mass consumer photography. Now, with everyone having a 5 megapixel camera plus with a flash on their phones, it's just, everyone's taking photos. It's like, I believe it's a bigger opportunity than the check-ins or a lot of this other stuff, because it's just a mass consumer thing. Like, everyone takes photos. and people want to upload and share those photos. And if you could own the photo category, like that's huge. And that's where we see the opportunity. And then there's like a lot of advertising around that, of course, because when people take photos, it's more or less when they actually do have spare time. You know, when I check in at a place, I might actually have the opportunity to go to other places or discover a new place and so on. But when I take a photo, a lot of times I'm taking that photo because I want to capture that moment, and I'm sort of in the moment, and I'm relaxing, I'm on vacation, I'm hanging out with my friends, all this sort of stuff. And my user behavior can actually be adjusted, so I can send a promotion for another restaurant or a bar nearby or something like this, and I can actually go to that bar and have that enjoy that special. And yeah, so I think there's huge opportunities around what you're saying. You know, you're at the Empire State Building or one of these Statue of Liberty or one of these places, and you're taking the photos, and then you want to go and experience the things that are happening nearby. But you probably are a tourist, and you probably don't know about all the stuff nearby. And so, yeah.
Well, you know what's interesting about this thing is that you know the original location services are moving into this space, right? So Goal is a perfect example of this. They were the first to offer this ability to check in and take a picture of the location that you're at, right, and collect that metadata. And then, you know, I think of something, you know, what we're seeing is RSS or Twitter aggregators like Flipboard, who do a great job of visually representing photos, right? Like they do a beautiful job, and photos are you know, to me the most relevant thing. It's the easiest thing. Instead of writing down where I parked my car, I take a picture of the parking garage, right? So you know, this is tagging all this information and creating that absolute layer on top of these services is a very competitive space. Like there's guys like TwitPic and YFrog and all these other guys. How do you compete against those guys who maybe they're doing similar to what you're doing? Yeah. So how do you compete with them?
I think that the reality is that people, like, I'd say there's the way we think about these consumer internet products and all this whole space, you know, in consumer internet products, I include like mobile, exactly what we're doing in that, is that there's three main aspects. There's the design, and that includes like need finding. What do people actually want to do? Like, do people actually want to check in and get points? Do people actually want to check in and get these trophies? Do people want to check in and play a game? What do people actually want to do? And then it's also bringing that to the actual design of the Photoshop, the Illustrator, all those files, and then like doing usability testing on those documents and all that sort of stuff. And then there's the actual building of the application, which is the development. And then you can't even do anything unless you can do that part. Yeah. And then there's the distribution. And distribution is key. You know, you got to build viral products that just make people really happy. You know, products where like people are just like, we're getting tons of emails every day saying, "I love this product," you know, and like that's what you need. And then they're going telling all their friends that they love this product, and then you're getting viral distribution through word of mouth. And it's really at the end of the day, to answer your question and circle back on that, is it's about building awesome products.
Yep.
And, you know, Apple is playing in commoditized markets nearly, you could say. You know, phones, like, you know, laptops, this sort of stuff. But people just love their products because they're just awesome at building awesome products. Yeah. And that's what it's about in our stuff as well. It's about building awesome products.
So, okay. And I mean, it's a... how many other products do you think that you can get into? I mean, you're obviously into 2 products. I mean, what do you want to do with this? More products, or do you want to take what you've got and generate more revenue as a result of the existing products?
So yeah, we wanted. We're definitely going to be building out multiple products in this space, and it's a matter like that's the reality. Is, you know, you got to build out multiple products, and then, you know, from there then solve different needs, of course.
Yep.
And so we're working on another application in the early stages of prototyping it for campuses. So you know, the social layer for campuses and stuff. And so it's all about just leveraging our real-time location-aware media sharing platform to just have all these touch points to consumers that solve all the different needs. You know, PicBounce is a very much utility application right now, but there's a lot of things we can do around that we haven't exposed yet in terms of the functionality. You know, when I'm taking photos at an event, I've already connected my Facebook and my Twitter accounts, so you know who my friends are,
Yep.
Okay, or PicBounce knows who my friends are. And so if someone else at that, if let's say I'm there with my friend John, and John invites his friend Mary, and Mary then is not my friend on Facebook or Twitter, but she's connected with me through our mutual friend John. Well, then if Mary's taking photos at that event, they have a time and location stamp, so I should get that content as well, because that's much more relevant to me than everyone else's content at that event. So based on location timestamps and the social graph, you can add relevancy to this stuff. But what I'd say, to answer your question about, do we focus on the products now or do we build out? I think it's a mixture of both. It's, we keep on building functionality into the products we have now and satisfying our users there. People are writing songs about us in Japan about the Clixtr product, and we love that. And we want to make those users even happier. So building out extra functionality there, building out more functionality in the PicBounce product, and then building out these other applications, and just experimenting, learning, building out, solving people's problems, and yeah.
So how are you marketing this thing? Is it just viral? Like literally, are your products being marketed just virally?
Yeah, pretty much. We with the PicBounce application, when we launched, we ran a small promotion at the start, but it's been in the top 25 without promotion. So it's and we're getting tens of thousands of downloads just from people just seeing it in the App Store and stuff like that. And that's definitely one distribution channel. Is being in the top apps in the App Store. Yes. People just see it, and it just you can stay there for a while because people just keep on seeing it. And that's a discovery mechanism that a lot of people use. And then also there's the reality of people are posting this content onto their social graphs, and then everyone's seeing it. So just viral distribution. You have to build that into your products nowadays. When you look at a lot of these companies like Zynga and like Groupon and these companies, they're building this stuff off the social graph, and companies are just able to grow at a faster rate ever before in history. Because of Facebook and Twitter and linking in with these services, and we all need to leverage those the phenomenal speed at which we can go now, and how we can accumulate users.
I mean, it's not every application that can get into the top 25 or even break the top 100 applications or free applications across the board. So, I mean, that really does carry a lot of momentum.
Yeah,
doesn't
and I think with that as well, it's to get into the top 25, you need to be a mass market product, right? Like, this says mass appeal. There's 500 million people on Facebook. Everyone, I'm sure, who has an iPhone has Facebook, and pretty much. And most of the people who are downloading apps for sure have Facebook, and those people then want to post their photos onto Facebook and Twitter as easy as possible. That's a mass market product. The Clixtr product isn't as actual mass market because it's more, people in Silicon Valley and us love Clixtr because it's like this new thing, and it's like able to do things that we were never able to do before. But just the average consumer just wants really, really simple shareable concepts. A lot of people don't even understand, a lot of these existing applications that are proving to be successful in the tech community, but that aren't don't appeal to what they want to do.
And the mass appeal. What about other platforms? So you obviously the iPhone was the first hurdle to get through, and you build on the iPhone. I mean, is there, there's such a cost around creating cross-platform applications, for Android, for BlackBerry, for Windows Phone 7. But is that something that you plan on doing, or is that, or do you stick with the iPhone?
We have expertise in doing iPhone stuff more than any other platform. That's the reality, and it's the best place to start. iPhone is for sure the best place to start because there's a huge amount of users there.
Yep.
There's as many users on we're iPhone and iPod Touch with cameras.
Yeah.
With the PicBounce application, and with Clixtr, we're iPhone and iPod Touches. And the reality is there's just the iPhone is the best place to learn and discover, and to get your application into people's hands, see if they like it, tweak the model, and that sort of stuff. If you port over to Android and these other platforms immediately, then what you'll actually face, I believe, is that you'll make decisions based on what can be done with the different platforms instead of making the decision of what's best for the user. So in your meeting, you'll be like, oh, I think we should put this button down here. And, oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense for the user. The user is definitely going to want the button there. And then someone turns around, oh, no, on Android, we can't put the button there. And so you redo the whole design based on like what can be done with the sum of all these different platforms, because that's the easiest way to do it once you've ported. But I believe, like, you got to focus on one platform, nail the experience on that platform, and then port to the other platforms. But Android is going to be absolutely huge. I was in Asia at the start of the summer, and I I was with the geeks on a plane trip, and phenomenal experience out there at tech conferences in Beijing, Shanghai, Seoul, Singapore, and meeting people in Tokyo in the mobile space and stuff. And I was blown away by how much Android is taking off over there. It's just insane. But the reality is, like, that today, 72% of all smartphones in Japan are iPhones.
Yeah.
It's insane.
That's
how
incredible.
popular the iPhone
That's
is.
incredible.
And all these guys were way ahead in mobile. And now sort of the US has completely leapfrogged all these Asian countries because they have all the mobile OSs, the mobile smartphone OSs in the US. And so the innovations are happening here. But the adoption of Android in China and in Japan and stuff is phenomenal. Yeah. Everyone is going after Android as their OS. So Android is going to dominate within the next 2 years pretty much. And so we'll definitely have Android on our radar, and we'll be going there soon.
What happened? So what's next after this? What about video? How important do you think video is in this equation? Video
is definitely pardon. Video is definitely important, and we're going to be adding that at some point. The problem with video is that it takes a commitment to watch a video. You know, if I'm sitting down and I'm looking through photos, I can get through 100 photos in a minute nearly. You know, it's a really it's a thing that you can do and consume a ton of information in a very short amount of time. A minute video, I don't really actually consume that much information. It's, you know, I'm watching it and I'm listening and everything like that. It's like people watching this, you know, if they were reading snippets, the key bullet points from this whole conversation, they'd probably, it would be a more condensed and more dense information flow to them than watching the video itself. And it's just a difference in how people perceive it. And some people love video, of course, and some people upload tons of videos, and so we're going to appeal to them at some point, but that would probably be a pro service. And so the first point is around, you know, the commitment of actually watching the video compared to consuming photos. And the second one is that just the network speed. The network speed just sucks right now. And consuming videos on mobile, but more so even uploading videos on mobile, is just a pain. Like if you're, the coverage, especially in San Francisco, it ain't good enough.
AT&T on an iPhone. I heard that's not so good out there.
Definitely.
You know, I got a question. Obviously, you're not from San Francisco.
Yeah.
You know, Fergus Hurley is not so much a San Francisco name, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, when did you move to the States?
I've been in the States for 4 years now.
Okay, and you came to go to school? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay, and so when you take a service like what you've done with Clixtr and you go home with it, or people ask you what you do about it, because there's probably you know, different use case in North America versus everywhere else. Well, you know, what do people you know, say to you when you say, "Well, this is what I do for a living"?
It's interesting actually. So I'll talk about Japan first. Actually, so I went in Japan. It's interesting that there the user behavior of people and these products is very, very different.
Yep.
So people don't take as many photos of people in Japan as they do in the US. In Asian culture in general, there's a lot more photos of food and of landscapes and of objects and of street carnivals and stuff like that than there is in the US of those sort of things. Versus in the US, they take a lot more photos of people. You know, in the US, people don't like to actually capture a photo without someone in it.
Yeah.
You know, they won't take a photo of just like, you know, a building or something like that, they'll say, "Hey, can you take a photo of me with the building?" And it's a different user behaviors. And I think Europe follows the US more in that sort of trend of like, I want a photo of myself with my friends and all that sort of stuff. And but then starting back on your question of like, what do people say when they hear what I do?
Except for your parents, right?
Yeah.
You were still saying, "Go back to school, go back to school."
Yeah, it's interesting. I went back to Ireland a couple of weeks ago, and also traveled throughout Europe and met the people who are like the top leaders in the tech space in Berlin, in Paris, and in London, and got a lot of exposure to the tech scenes in those areas, but also in Dublin. And Dublin is one of which is the capital of Ireland, is one of the center points in the web and technology space in all of Europe. Because it's an English-speaking country, the tax is lower, and there's a lot of incentives for the companies to move there. And so Google, Facebook, a lot of these, LinkedIn, a lot of these companies are based out of Dublin. And but they had a conference in Galway called Blog Talk, and it was all these like people from social media who are leaders in the space. And people in Silicon Valley think, it's all about Silicon Valley. Everything happens in Silicon Valley. Who are these Foursquare and Koala guys? How come they're not in Silicon Valley? How can they ever make it if they're not in Silicon Valley? But the reality is you don't need to be in Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is a great place to learn and to meet all the people and stuff like that, but you don't need to be here. And at this conference in Galway on the west coast of Ireland, where 60,000 people living in this town, my hometown actually, they had the people from Google, the original engineer who built Twitter. They had people from Facebook and all these other huge platforms speaking at the conference. So even in my town in Ireland, they have all these leaders in the space coming there. So it's this is a global thing, and people in these places understand it as well. Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, even Apple, their support is in Ireland, isn't it? So when you call their Apple support, it's in Ireland. It's one last question just around this technology, and then we'll finish it off. I got to, Google is getting heavily invested in this. So maybe not so much in the picture taking, but certainly the picture recognition side with Google goggles.
Yeah.
And, is that something that worries you, excites you? Do you want to be a part of that?
Definitely the goal is to work with all these big players. You got to partner with these guys because they have the distribution channels as well and everything. I think that the Google Goggles thing is a phenomenal technology of reversing the Google image search technology pretty much, and that there's a ton of use cases for that, but a lot of these big companies are constrained in what they can do because Google is launching a few apps on iPhone, but they haven't really launched any apps in the last year on iPhone. And there's a lot of tension between, Apple and Google and a lot of these other companies. And Nokia isn't launching apps on the Android, and Nokia isn't launching apps on Apple. So there's actually, I think, an advantage for companies like ourselves who are independent and can be, friends and work with all the people in the space and be able to just create the best experience for the users across the different platforms. And I don't think it's about competing with these guys, more so about working with them and them working with the startups and all that sort of stuff.
Well, it's very cool. I love the technology, Fergus. I love what you're doing. I love this layer of connectedness that you're putting around location and photos. I just a shared experience is something that is very difficult in this mobile space, and by doing what you're doing, two things. First of all, on the Clixtr side, bringing all those photos together to create a shared experience, right? A common experience, a common thread. I think it's unbelievable, and kudos for doing that. And then for PicBounce to simplify this process that everybody's having. I mean, you pick a mass market, you go after that, and you find the one solution that makes sense for people to be able to use. These are great tools, and I can't wait to see what you guys are doing beyond this. Certainly around corporations. You talked about private events. I think that this is, it must be very exciting to be sitting where you are, kind of creating stuff as you go. So I really appreciate you coming on. How do people find out about more about you? First of all,
so I'm on Twitter, Fergus Hurley, Fergus Hurley, all one word.
Yep.
And you can just email me at fergus@clixtr.com if you ever want to contact me, and I'm happy to answer any questions about this stuff and help anybody out who wants any help. And it was brilliant talking to you, Rob. I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm honored to be up there with the rest of the rock stars.
You are one, Fergus. I'm going to follow up with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I really appreciate you doing this, man. And thank you for taking the time out today.
Brilliant. Thanks, John.
All right. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.